Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to an anxiety hypnosis session created for a client that was worrying about a future event. Now, in their particular case, it was a day-long workshop that they were presenting, and there was an element of concern that they might not do themselves justice, that they could be judged by others, that it could be detrimental to their career. There was an element of imposter syndrome where they felt that they were not deserving enough to be in that position, even though they were hired in that position, even though they were given that opportunity. Insecurities tend to play to where we have doubts, where we're unsure of ourselves. And it's healthier to be doubtful of your abilities than at the other end of the spectrum, which is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people hugely overestimate their abilities. Because if you underestimate your abilities, it tends to give you a drive to prepare more and to learn more. But if that is too extreme, where you have full-on imposter syndrome, then actually it can create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if you're so filled with doubts and worries that it means that when it comes to an important time, then your resources are shut down by this fight or flight mechanic called the sympathetic nervous system, then you might be worrying that you might not be good enough and be so anxious that actually because of your anxiety you don't come across well, and then that becomes evidence that you weren't ever good enough. So there's a couple of things happening in this hypnosis session. One is accessing resource states. This particular client was very comfortable communicating with their sisters, was very relaxed when they were in nature, particularly in beautiful landscapes in Italy. So there's anchoring of a resource state, but there is also lots of direct suggestions to make them shift their perspective from being this imposter, from being this fake, to being someone that is able to offer value and to share wisdom and insight that can actually help other people. And that alone enables anxiety to go down because it's less about judgment. You can only have judgment if you're thinking about yourself. If you focus on what you're giving rather than the evaluation of other people, then it tends to activate a feeling of generosity, that you're helping in some way, that you're more of a coach or a mentor. But the second metaphor that's quite important in this hypnosis session is the idea of anxiety being like a monster. And throughout literature, throughout poetry, throughout movies, there's this idea of monsters are always, if you think of a horror movie that involves a monster, they tend to allude to the monster, but not reveal the monster until the second half of the movie. And that's because they know that it's always going to be scarier in your imagination than it will ever be if you actually see it. It alludes to something and implies it. So the metaphor here relates to this idea that if a monster can get bigger or smaller, what feeds that monster? Well, the monster of anxiety is fed by doubt and is starved by assurance and confidence. So there's a few things happening in this hypnosis session, although, of course, it alludes to the context that I was working with this client, which was a presentation. This idea of believing that you're okay as you are, that doing your best is good enough, that there's an opportunity to learn from any challenges or setback or feedback or criticism, is designed to take the pressure off. So it might be that in your case, there is no presentation or workshop to present, but it might be that there is something else that's a cause of insecurity or anxiety or worries for you, in which case you can think of that future event and just imagine a confident version of you in that context, and that if you have any intrusive thoughts up to that point, to have this evaluation that you're going to be okay, that you're going to do what you can in that circumstance. And what you'll find is by taking the pressure off you, it creates an opposite self-fulfilling prophecy, that because you feel more resourceful, you then are more resourceful, which tends to be a better version of you, which then has the cycle of anxiety working for you rather than against you. If you feel that anxiety is negatively affecting your life, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation call to explore working with me. And I can explain how I work. I'll be asking lots of questions about you, because it might be what I've done for hundreds of other clients may be helpful for you and your specific circumstances. In the meantime, it's worth listening to this hypnosis session, because even though it was created for a client that wanted to prepare for a presentation, the essence of feeling resourceful, of not needing to fake who you are and to shrink this monster of anxiety could be quite helpful. So find a quiet place, could be a bed, could be a couch, could be a comfortable chair, ideally in an environment where you won't be disturbed, and relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a wonderful feeling of calm. As you exhale, give permission to yourself to release any tension and allow your eyelids to close. That's it. Breathing in a feeling of resourceful calmness, and noticing where in your body there's any feelings of worry, stress, or tension. Realizing that tension often is the physical representation of worry. So as you release that tension, you're simultaneously releasing the worries attached to them. Breathing in that feeling of resourcefulness, releasing that tension, feeling the tension leave your body in your outward breath. That's it. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine beautiful landscape somewhere in Italy, maybe near the coast, maybe on an island. I want you to imagine you're dressed for whatever is appropriate for hiking through that landscape. Maybe you can imagine a rocky hillside, pine trees. Maybe you can imagine blue skies. And I want you to imagine that there is a large hill, perhaps a small mountain, that represents a challenge. And I want you to imagine that as you walk up that gradient, you realize that you can't magically leap over a mountain in one go. You manage this one step at a time. And I want you to get a sense of ease and feeling that you have all the resources in the world, that step by step you can make progress to climb up this hill. Imagine breathing in that fresh, clean air, exhaling any tension, but also exhaling any feelings of resistance or difficulties, that it becomes easier and easier to walk up this hill. And sometimes what can feel challenging to begin with becomes less challenging when you look at how much progress you've already made. Perhaps you're already halfway up this hill, feeling a sense that if you've done this much so far, that you can continue to make progress as you make the evaluation that your resources exceed the demands of this challenge. And I want you to imagine somewhere near the top of this hill is a picturesque cottage, a Mediterranean cottage. And I want you to see that there isn't much more you need to do to keep walking up the hill until you're there at that cottage. And maybe there's something unique about this cottage. Maybe it's the color, the architecture, maybe the surroundings, maybe there's flowers, maybe there's something unique about this building. But I want you to feel how easy it was to make progress up this challenging hill until you're there at the cottage. And imagine the cottage is empty. And just like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, I want you to imagine going inside and seeing a very comfortable bed. And you know it's comfortable by the softness of the mattress, the clean sheets, the soft pillow. And I want you to imagine how good it would feel to climb into that bed, there in a cottage, on the side of a hill somewhere in Italy, all of which is just in your imagination. And as you make yourself comfortable, I want you to imagine you're reading a book. Feel how comfortable it feels to read a good book in a comfortable bed, in a place within your imagination that you feel so relaxed. And I want you to imagine that the content of this book is a story of play. And I want you to realize that sometimes when there's too much pressure put on a situation, it can take fun things and make them serious. But the opposite is also true. And as you imagine reading this book about play, you're reminded of how you used to play as a child. Maybe there were complex things that you got good at just by playing a game with other people. When things are fun, they become easier. And when they're easier, you do it more often. And I want you to think of the games you used to play that you got incredibly good at certain things, and it didn't feel like hard work. It felt easy and natural for you. And then turn the pages until you see an image of yourself with your sisters. Maybe it's a handwritten illustration. Feel your body relax, any tension going from your neck and your shoulders. Feel your arms and legs getting limp, loose and heavy. Feel a desire to yawn and just release any tension. Eyelids feeling heavier and heavier. Feeling more relaxed. That's it. And as you stare into that illustration of yourself and your sisters, imagine what it would be like to jump into the book and become that version of you having a conversation with your sisters at a time where you were sharing something useful for them, as you remind yourself how effortless and easy it can be to communicate, to share knowledge and insight and wisdom in a way that isn't hard work. It's just you sharing something valuable to people that there's a connection with. Think of the tone of voice that you use, that your focus isn't on you, it's on them. That rapport is instantaneously there. That you're smiling while you're talking. Feel how easy it is to share knowledge, wisdom, and information when you realize it's just you as a person sharing knowledge with other people. I want you to imagine things can be easier when you take the pressure off. And I want you to think about an upcoming presentation or workshop. But I want you to look at it through a new lens. Taking all of the pressure and expectation away. And looking at it as an opportunity to share. As you think about perhaps the location of that presentation, who might be there, I want you to see a confident, relaxed version of you. I want you to see someone that looks resourceful. And I want you to imagine seeing yourself not as someone that has to do a perfect presentation. I want you to imagine seeing yourself looking like a wise coach or a mentor, poised and ready to share your valuable insights with a playful confidence. See yourself as a giver of knowledge, recognizing that you have unique gifts to offer to those who are eager to learn from you. That you can trust in your ability to think on your feet, knowing that you possess the resources to provide thoughtful answers to any questions that arise. Knowing that if there's something that you truly don't know, you can authentically take the time to research what would actually help and be beneficial and share that information later. Remove any ideas that you need to be perfect. That this is something that you're learning and getting better at. And therefore, any criticism any feedback are just opportunities for growth and improvement. That you can welcome them with an open heart and a willingness to learn. You don't have to fake. You don't have to have a mask, a facade. See yourself as that version of you that can confidently communicate with your sisters. Just see yourself in a professional environment. See yourself in the room or the building that you would be. As you can feel the weight of expectations lifting, allowing you to relax and be your authentic self, not just during your presentation, but in all the days that lead up to it. You can make the evaluation that you can give this your best, and that's enough. There's no need to be perfect. There's no need to have all the answers to all the questions. You can be authentically you. You can be the relaxed version of you. You can be the version of you where, because the pressure and the stress is lifted, you can be the version of you where you can be calm, composed, and at ease. Because authenticity is your strength. You shine when you are genuine and natural, connecting with your audience on a deep and meaningful level. Why try and be anyone else when you are uniquely you? The facade is not just unnecessary, it's a hindrance. You are enough just as you are, and your unique perspective adds tremendous value. So you can release the pressure and replace it with a sense of ease and tranquility, knowing that you are well prepared to inspire and educate. And just imagine what happens on that day. Picture your audience benefiting from your wisdom, gaining new perspectives, and leaving your presentation enriched. And when it comes to the day, as you step into that room, a sense of calm washes over you, allowing you to speak from the heart and be fully present in the moment. Your focus isn't on you, it's on the people that you are there to serve. Because your words are like gifts, each one offering insight, guidance, inspiration to those who are fortunate enough to hear them. And as the imposter syndrome fades away, you focus on your mission to share knowledge, and that your intention is a good intention to make a positive impact. And imagine how good it would feel to be a beacon of confidence, radiating assurance and self-belief that you are the perfect person to be yourself. And you can project that authenticity, that naturalness, that all the preparation you've done will come across so much better when you come across as yourself. Setting a powerful example for anyone in the room that witnesses your workshop, your presentation. And you don't need to be perfect. It doesn't have to all go to plan. You can embrace any challenge as an opportunity to demonstrate your resilience and adaptability. On the day, your presentation will flow like a river of wisdom, carrying your audience to new horizons of understanding. It's easy for you to make small talk. Just use that same tonality you would speak with your sisters to anyone in the room. The words may be different, but that warmth, that connection, that rapport enables connection, laying the foundations to touch hearts and change minds. Imagine being in the audience and watching you as you come across authentic, calm, relaxed, like you're having fun. And imagine as you watching yourself that you feel captivated by the perspectives, the knowledge, the wisdom, but most of all, how authentic you are coming across. And you can feel the energy of the room shifting as it's no longer about you, it's about the people that you're serving. You can step into your role as a confident and knowledgeable presenter, but more like a coach or a mentor, sharing insight and perspectives to add value. And I want you to imagine the day ends, and I want you to get a deep sense of pride washing over you. Some people hang around to ask questions, but you can see from facial expressions that people leave better off than when they arrived, with the ability to take your insights, take your knowledge, take your perspectives, and put them into practice. See the audience walking away with newfound wisdom and appreciation for what you've shared with them. You are unlocking the resources that were always there. Only now, you've got the ability to take the pressure away, to take the expectation away. You can enjoy the day. You can relax on the day and in the days leading up to it. Any intrusive thoughts or opportunities for assurance. Why would you feed a monster of anxiety, doubt, when you can shrink it with positive words of confident assurance? Every time an intrusive thought comes up, in a confident, self-assured voice, you can close that loop by saying, I'll do my best. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to enjoy the day. And really imagine that monster shrinking and shrinking and shrinking until it's smaller than a tiny bug, with no power to create any anxiety or stress for you. And as you feel more confident that you can give it your best, that you can prepare in the best way possible, that you can be confident that you will be authentically you, feel that monster shrinking to nothing. And if your unconscious mind accepts, then there's information you can share that can be helpful. That if you're gonna do the day anyway, why not be relaxed and enjoy it? That you can think about what you have to share. And as your unconscious mind accepts that you can give value to whoever's there, let me know by nodding your head. And feel that you are unlocking all of the resources that have been suppressed, not by your lack of capability, but by your focus on what can go wrong. And as you release all of those negative thoughts of what can go wrong, you unlock all of the resources that dramatically increase your ability to add more value to those that are there. You can be relaxed. This can be easy. This will be easy. And you can enjoy the day. And imagine holding a book in your hands while lying on a comfortable bed in a cottage, on a hillside, in a beautiful part of Italy. And then as you leave the cottage, you realize that that thing you were thinking a lot about was smaller than you ever thought it was. And it's so much easier to walk down the hill than it is to walk up the hill. But you walk down the hill with new insights, new lessons to learn. That in this game, the worst case scenario is that you become better by learning more. You have an attitude of bring it on. I can handle this. This can be easy and enjoyable as you feel how easy it is to walk down that hill, appreciating all the beauty that surrounds you. Imagine walking down the hill and back into your body, but taking that feeling of relaxation and having trust that you can be authentically you and feel that you've unlocked all of those resources that were there anyway. That's it. As you return to the present, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, feeling connected to who you are in the present, but feel like a weight has been lifted from your shoulders. The weight of expectation and all the pressure almost feels like it's disappeared. As you can do your very best, but it's easier to do your best without the weight of expectation bringing you down. That's it. Take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your nose, connecting with who you are in this moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.